What's up, all you Tigers out there? Shane Palma here, sports director for MUTV Sports and co-host for the Tailgaters show here on MUTV's YouTube page. Today, my other co-host J.J. Angelo and I were able to sit down with starting pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, Miles Mikolas, and talk about everything that's been going on in the world of Major League Baseball, stuff he's been doing during quarantine, some battles that he's had in the past with some tough hitters. All the questions that you want answered, we've got for you today on this exclusive interview here. So enjoy.
Yeah, well, real hard-hitting question to start you off. What's been your go-to movie during quarantine?
My wife and I have been watching a bunch of different stuff. As far as movies go, we watched like all the kids movies and stuff. We watched Frozen 2 like 100 times. On the adult side, we watched Gone with the Wind. I hadn't seen that like from start to finish in a hot minute, and I think that was a neat thing to watch. It's like such an old like classic movie.
Yeah.
We watched that, and we tried to watch The Joker last night, the new one, but he's so creepy in that movie. We had to watch like an episode of. We like got halfway through it, and it was our bedtime. And we had to watch like an episode of Friends to like get that weirdness like out of my head, because he's good. I mean, he won a bunch of awards for it.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, and just like he's weird, like almost gives you like the chills. Like, ooh, he's so weird. He's so good at it. But we watching that. We watched a lot of like the Netflix. We did the Tiger King.
Yeah.
I was into it. My wife thought it was kind of stupid. It's real. It is. It's like, does that guy deserve like 15 minutes of fame? I mean, does anyone? But it was kind of ridiculous.
You watched The Last Dance?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was huge. We both love that. I've been wanting to go back and watch the Lance Armstrong one and the Bruce Lee one. I heard those were both pretty good. We watched The Crown on Netflix. I like it because I'm a bit of a history guy, so I thought that was kind of cool. We've been watching a lot of, just kind of bouncing around, looking stuff that's like more lighthearted. We're not into like the nitty gritty, like creepy stuff.
Yeah.
Being a professional athlete, obviously you don't usually have this much free time to sit down and do all these things. How have you just been like, staying in shape, being baseball ready for whenever it's going to come back?
Yeah, I wouldn't call. I got 3 kids like under 3 years old, so I wouldn't call it. I've got like if you look at actual free time, I've got like 2 or 3 hours of free time a day, which is usually 2 hours of that is like going to the field and doing baseball stuff. Mm-hmm. And the other hour is like watching an episode of something before I go to bed. So, but staying in shape, I've got like kettlebells and an exercise bike and some like rubber bands and stuff in my garage. I live right here in Jupiter near our spring training complex. So I'm able to go and use some of that facility on a limited basis. And I've always been a big, like, just, pull-ups, push-ups, run around the neighborhood, ride a bike kind of guy. So it's easy for me to stay in shape. I've been fishing a little bit. We got a lake behind the house, trying to fly fish and stuff like that, goofing around.
Very cool. And kind of speaking of, looking forward to returning to baseball, what are your thoughts about, the original proposal? I think the first one was 114 games. Now there's a 76-game one that they counter-offered with. Looks like it's going to be shot down. What are you looking for?
I'm looking to play as many games as we can on what is a, full prorated salary. Like if I play half the amount of games, then I should get whatever half of my salary is. It's not a good look for anyone, the whole like millionaires arguing with billionaires kind of thing. But, if you want to put it in context, when you think about how much money these teams and franchises and owners are worth, if you put it into context and then you put into context what even the highest paid players are getting, it's like comparing, someone who works on Wall Street to the guy who works at Starbucks that's giving him his coffee in the morning. And it's really not even close. Like, when Wall Street, you know, hit the skids, did he go to Starbucks and tell the guy at Starbucks that he's only going to pay him $1 for that coffee now because he's not making as much money? No, he still pays full price for his coffee. And you should still pay full price for your baseball players. That's just, you know, and it's full price on what's half a season. You know, they're businessmen, they're owners. I get that. They're trying to get the best deal possible. I respect that from a business standpoint. You know, I did graduate college. I understand the economics of it. But again, like, you know, it's a down year. They've made money literally every single year for the last, like, how many years? And this is going to be their first year not making, like, an absolute boatload of money. And they're freaking out over it. Like, we're going to have fans next year. You're going to make a ton of money. And the value in a franchise, the value of owning a baseball team is the long-term, you know, compounded valuation of that company. I want to say, I don't know the numbers specifically. I could Google it or Wikipedia it, but I want to say, for example, like Mr. DeWitt bought the Cardinals for like $150 million or something like that, somewhere in that ballpark, 150, 200 million, whatever. He could sell it now for probably like over $1 billion. So that's a tremendous amount of profit. You know, same thing with other, you know, other baseball teams. Like, how much did the guy buy the Marlins for back in the day? And he sold it to that ownership group for like over $1 billion. You know, you bought the team for $1 billion. If you can't afford to pay your players, sell it. You know, if the owners can't afford to pay their players, you could put all 30 teams up for sale and probably sell them for over $1 billion, because any good business group is going to jump at the chance to buy a franchise because they know the value is going to increase so much over the next 10 years. They'd be willing to eat it and bite the bullet this year and pay full salaries. You know, if you can't afford it, if you can't afford to pay us, they should sell their teams to someone who can.
Yeah, I mean, that's all great points. That's kind of the side that I think most of the fans are on, is, you know, the baseball players. Obviously, people want to just see them back in action, but they also want to see them, you know, getting the rightful pay. At this point right now, do you see baseball happening in 2020? Do you think that there'll be a resolution anytime soon?
I think we're gonna play. I think unfortunately it'll be a shorter season than what we'd like, but you know, some baseball is better than no baseball, and you know, just anything to give the people something else to watch other than all the junk they've been watching on TV, all the you know, all the weird stuff going on, you know, all the bad news with this virus and stuff. I think baseball and basketball's coming back, and all the sports are coming back. So we got to come back, and we got to give people, you know, something to get excited, something they can kind of gather around and, you know, get behind.
Have you been frustrated in any way with kind of the stalemate that's going on while seeing like the NBA and the NHL coming to agreements?
I mean, the NBA was like kind of done with their season, so I don't think there was like a whole lot of salary stuff to go on. I mean, this, you know, it's a big salary thing. Like I said, I understand the economics of it, and it is frustrating when we're trying to, you know, we're trying to get going, and the owners kind of drag their feet at a lot of stuff. Like it's taken them, you know, longer than expected to get us their initial proposal. I mean, we're sitting around since like spring training, February, March. We're sitting around since mid-March, and they don't throw us like a plan till like early June about getting things started. Like, what were they doing for the last couple months? Like, they didn't have like just guys sitting in a room. I picture it like I would like to picture it like guys sitting in a room like Nassau Command Center style, just like drawing up schedules for every possible scenario, just spitting out ideas. And it took them like forever to get us one. And then they won't like give us all the documents that the union wants to like fact check stuff. You know, it is my belief that they're kind of going to drag their feet, and it's going to get, hopefully not any uglier, but it's going to get to the point where our only choice is to play this, you know, much abbreviated season when we got guys ready to play right now. Like, you know, they're supposed to give us a couple weeks notice on like a second training period. You know, if you'd have told us 2 weeks ago, hey, you got 2 weeks to get to spring training 2.0, and then you got 3 weeks to get ready for season, you know, we'd be ready. We'd be ready by July 4th if they wanted us to. If they would have given us a good proposal and given us time, we're ready to play. Guys, you know, I talk to guys on my team. I talk to guys on other teams. We want to play. We're ready to play. We've been ready to play. And I feel like the owners, you know, personally, I may be wrong, but I feel like the owners and MLB is just kind of dragging their feet and not doing their best job. I mean, you got a lot of really smart guys trying to put their best foot forward, and I think they've kind of tripped over their own feet a little bit. And I think they could be a little bit better at getting a good proposal and a good good strategy to us.
Well, as you were talking right there, I actually got an alert from The Athletic that the Players Association has rejected MLB's offer of the 76-game season. So that's now off the table. I guess a counter offer is going to be made soon. If the MLB proposes something and it's accepted and there's prorated salaries, do you see yourself or any other players potentially just sitting out this season?
I wouldn't speak for any of the other players, but I am very much interested in playing this season. But if a player had legitimate, like a legitimate health thing, then I could understand, you know, that guy just saying, hey, you know, it's not worth the risk. You know, maybe a guy who's not making a ton of money, like a league minimum guy. I imagine anyone that's like, you know, healthy and ready to play is going to play, but guys that have a pre-existing condition that may be at risk, I believe that they would want to sit out, which is understandable. Like if you're a higher risk, if you have like an immune disorder or something that makes you more susceptible to like that kind of sickness, why not? You know, take a break.
Yeah. A little bit more, I guess, conceptual of a question, but just kind of more basics in playing in the NL Central like you do, with it, which has just been so close and such a tight race for years. What do you think? Like, what do you think that's going to look like just with less games already?
I don't know. I don't even know what does a 50 some odd game schedule look like? We're just going to be like bouncing around in the division. I imagine it would just be bouncing around your division. Yeah. Get all your division games in. You got 5 other teams in how many times do you play the Cubs? If you think you got 4 other teams in your division, you play each team 10 times, that's 40 games right there. Yeah. We play the Cubs like 20 times a year, right? I don't know. I don't look at the schedule, but like, do you know how many times you play everyone in your division? 3 here, 4 there, 3 here, 4 there. We go there at least 4 times, at least like 20 games. So in my mind, if you're going to, whatever like weird playoff system that they come up with for this, I imagine you just go straight up, you play your division, and whoever comes out of your division, boom, that's your team. And then you got like 2 wild cards, and then the wild cards maybe playing. I don't know how that works, but I think if we're just, a little round robin in the division for 50 games, I think it gets interesting, especially playing everyone so many times in such a short period of time. We're going to go to Chicago and Pittsburgh, and then they're going to come here, and then we're going to go there. We're going to go to Cincinnati, and they're going to go back. We're going to go back and forth. You're going to see everyone on such a quick basis. It's going to be kind of like this, the schedule was in Japan. You do like 3-game sets, 4-game sets, and you go back and forth, and there's less teams. So you play like 100, and the interleague in Japan is only a month. So you got 140 some odd games, only a month of playing the other league. Other than that, it's the 6 teams. You play 6 teams, so 5 teams. You play 5 other teams for like 100 games, and you just keep back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You got to adjust quick. You got to, you got good scouting reports on guys. So it can get pretty interesting, pretty nitty gritty. Be interesting to watch, fun to watch.
So let's say, obviously, going back on a shorter season, pitchers, obviously there probably wouldn't be innings limits for some of these guys. Personally, do you see yourself potentially pitching deeper into games, maybe not using the bullpen as much, maybe go to a 6-man rotation?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's going to depend on if guys are ready, you know, how many innings. Yeah, I think they're going to want to be careful with guys at first. I think towards the end of this season and into that playoff picture, because you're going to be in midseason form. Not even, you know, if you make it to the playoffs, you'll be in midseason form. So I think at first you'll probably see less innings. You'll probably see guys going like 4 or 5 innings because they don't want, you know, I'm throwing bullpens. You know, I'm up and down. I'm throwing, you know, 50, 60, 70 pitches maybe. But it's not a game. There's not a guy in the box. Guys are doing live BPs. I'm going to get some live BPs in, but it's not the same. Like, how many spring training innings is a guy going to get? So you got to do 2 of them because you got to bookend them. How many spring training innings are you going to get before the season starts? And then the season starts. So, like, you know, if the spring training is 3 weeks long, you're going to get 3, maybe 4 starts. You know, you're going to go 2 innings, 3 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings. The opening day starter is going to be on like a 5-inning limit because you have to throw that much. Even if a guy says, hey, I can throw 7 innings, they're not going to let him. We're going to have expanded rosters, more guys in the bullpen. So I don't know. More guys in the bullpen, more guys in the bench. You're going to have a DH, so you're not going to have to worry about, like, playing that game. So you can just kind of, like, move pitchers in and out without worrying about, you know, shifting your defense. It'd be interesting. There's so many ways to look at it. I think it's going to be interesting to see what managers do and how managers can get creative, whether it's, like, more of this opener stuff or, you know, you're going to use – you know, those extra bullpen spots, are you going to have like 7 starters, but have 5-inning rotations and just like straight piggyback dudes? Like, oh, throw 3 innings, you know, 3-4 innings, and then maybe 3-4 innings for the next guy. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff you could do with a weird season like this. We might as well just make it as weird as we can.
Yeah. You know, you talked about having a DH. How do you feel about, you know, not being able to hit them?
I'm hot and cold on the hitting, if we're going to be honest. Like, in the middle of the season, you know, if I'm smacking the ball around, I'm getting some hits. I love it. I'm in a month-long slump. I'm, like, yelling at guys in the dugout, like, bring the DH, and I hate hitting. So it depends on what side of a hitting streak you catch me on. But I think it'd be sad to see it go. I mean, it's been part of baseball for so long. People are going to, you know, now when you look at, like, pitchers' numbers, are going to be like, oh, well, he used to pitch for, you know, his numbers are National League, so he was facing a pitcher every 9 hitters for his whole career. And, I mean, if you think about it, a pitcher should be, for at least the last 10 years. Pitchers used to handle the bat maybe a little better. There's not as much emphasis on it these days. But you think about it, if you throw 30 starts and you're in a National League, you should face a pitcher at least twice in your starts. So that's like 60 times. Pitcher's not a hard guy to strike out. That's at least another 30 strikeouts a year, probably more if you're a strikeout pitcher and you're striking out like 200 guys a year. You know, if you're in the American League, you might be striking out 150 guys, 170 guys. You would think the guy in the National League would have the most strikeouts a year because he's got a pitcher popping in batter's box every once in a while.
Yeah, and you've talked a lot about, you know, it's very obvious it's going to be a very just weird season. A lot of things changing. I'm sure you've been asked this question before, but just another weird thing that I'm sure you're preparing for and a lot of people are preparing for is just games with no fans. How do you feel about that? What's a creative way you think you can come around that?
Yeah. You could imagine that there's more people in the stands. They're putting like stuffed animals in the stands in Korea. They can pump in crowd noise. I mean, does that give an advantage to teams like Tampa Bay and Miami or Cincinnati who like never really have fans anyway? Like they're going to be totally used to it. I'm not sure, but you know, baseball is baseball. You step in between those lines, crowd yelling at you or not, you got to get the job done. I think it just makes it weird. It might be eerie. at times. I think in the indoor stadiums, you're going to notice it a lot more because there's just not going to be any noise. I mean, at least if you're outside, there's that, city noise, cars, like you're still going to hear stuff. It's going to be more quiet, but you're going to hear stuff. But if you're like, Milwaukee, you're not going to hear a pin drop. Your center fielder farts, you're going to hear it pitching. Like that might be like the, kind of the funny parts about it. So who knows?
Would you I think there was talks about, miking up like a lot more players like they do in All-Star Weekend. Is that something you'd want to see happen?
Yeah, I think for the position players, mostly like guys in the infield, like when the players talk to each other, it'd be hard to tell who's like putting on for the mic, I guess. I guess the guys who would really know that would be like the catchers, the first baseman, and the infielders, because they know who talks to them on a regular basis anyway. Like some guys get on first base and they don't want to talk to the first baseman. I'm not on first base very much, so if I get a hit, I'm very chatty with the first baseman because I'm so excited to be there. Yeah. It's fun. I'm like I never get, as a pitcher, you don't really get to like talk to people a lot. So when I'm on first base, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Like, how's your wife? How's your kids? Nice cleats. Like, you got a hit off me. Like, that was nice. But I think it'd be interesting to see what guys are like. I'm not a big like talking to myself out loud pitching guy. I don't think pitchers want to do it. Except for Bauer, he like loves that stuff. But I don't think a whole lot of pitchers would like to be mic'd up when they're pitching. You got to have a guy on the beep button like quick.
Yeah.
Definitely big, like 10-second delay. Because you got guys like MFing themselves. We got some guys on our team without mics. You're not going to need to mic guys up with an empty stadium. You're going to hear everything anyway.
Yeah.
If I miss a spot and drop an F-bomb, or a guy hits a home run and I drop an F-bomb, it's not going to be drowned out by the 1,000 people in Cincinnati that are there. You're going to hear it,
Yeah.
Just a fun question here before we start to wrap up. Who's your least favorite hitter to face in the league?
Oh, like least favorite because he's tough, or like least favorite because like I'm tired of his SHIT. Like I'm tired of your act. That kind of guy, or like a actual tough hitter.
I was looking for like the tough hitter, but if you got both, I'd take both.
I'm not going to throw stones in this interview. I'm not going to try to make enemies. But really tough hitters, I'm always thinking like the last people I faced would be lost in the Nationals in the playoffs. Rendon is really tough. He's got really quick hands. Soto's tough. He's got a great eye. Votto's got a good eye. It's tough to get guys to chase. I throw a lot of strikes, so I kind of like those guys because if you make it look like a ball and it's a strike, no one will take it. Marte with the Pirates, he's not there anymore. I think he's in Arizona now. He's tough. I've got good numbers against him, but I always feel like it's a tough at bat because he fouls the ball off a lot. Like he knows I'm throwing him inside. He tries to cheat every time, and he's like ripping balls into their dugout and like pulling them like into the stands over third base. But he's got, guys that have those quick hands. I like to throw inside. So guys that have quick hands, that can kind of keep the barrel on the ball. A lot of times they're pulling a foul, but the tough outs, contact guys trying to slap the ball anywhere are always pretty tough.
Can I, do you mind if I ask you about Juan Soto, the game one exchange in the NLCS?
Yeah, no, I mean, there was, I get asked about it a lot. Well, let me grab that and hang it up. We moved into a new house and we got like, you need a landline, new house. Like, no, you don't. Yeah. I've never picked up that phone and had it be something important in like the 6 months you've been living here.
It never is. It never is.
No, it's never important. If you try to get a hold of me, you got my cell phone number. Like then it's important. Like political surveys. Like 8:30.
Yeah.
Trying to watch Tiger King. I don't want to talk to you about who's running for president. Is the Tiger King running for president again? I'll talk to you. You don't want to talk about him. the Soto thing, everyone asked me about it. You know, he does his little thing in the box, and I've actually heard that sometimes he doesn't even realize that he's grabbing his crotch. Like it's like a subconscious, like, you know, he's trying to intimidate you, he's doing his thing. But, you know, he's kind of grabbing his junk, and, you know, I got him in a big spot. I got him to roll over for the out, to get out of the inning. And I waited to make sure he was looking at me. And then I kind of gave him the crotch, kind of gave it back to him. It was I don't know if I'd call it like a friendly exchange, but there wasn't any, like, you know, I didn't drop any F-bombs. I didn't feel like scream at him. He didn't scream back at me. He didn't try to start anything. He gave me a little look like, you know, you got me this time, but I'm going to get you next time, which I think is really neat. Like it was, you know, very mature. He's such a young kid. And it was a fun exchange. Like, you know, you'd be playing kids on the playground, like you're taunting each other, but, you know, maybe we'll be friends someday, because it was like a friendly, like, ooh, I got you. And he's like, well, I'm going to get you next time. He's hit home runs off me. Like he's hit doubles off me. He's got some good ABs against me, and I've got some okay, you know, some okay pitches against him. He's a tremendous talent, and we're just having, you know, just having fun. Like I gave him back his thing. If I face him in this season, if we have a season, if we play games out of the division, if that's a thing, and he gets a nice hit off me and he wants to, you know, give me the business, you know, I'll tip my hat. You know, if you get a hit, you know, if you lace one into the gap and you want to give me the business, you know, that's okay. But if I strike you out for your next at bat, I'm going to give you the business back. So, and I think that's fine. I think maybe more pitchers, maybe we should start giving the hitters, you know, maybe we could, like, you pimp strikeouts more. I don't know how to do it. Work on it. Like, is there like a glove or like a hat flip?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the fans will like that. Maybe like we need to do more cool stuff with this weird season. Like we're going to be mic'd up. We're going to be, you know, it's going to be quiet. So maybe like if I strike guys out, I, you know, have like a little saying, you know, take a seat or something like that, like a catchphrase. That's a bad one, but like a catchphrase maybe, like instead of pimping it.
That'd be definitely interesting. One more quick question here before we let you go. Just something that I've been thinking about for quite a while. I'm always asking people when it comes up. You know, if we get a season this year and it's less games than normal, do you think these stats will count for the record books, or are they going to have asterisks next to them?
I mean, it's got to count. Like, it doesn't not count.
But if a guy has, like, you know, the lowest ERA in history, are we going to see that as, like, you know, one of the greatest pitching seasons of all time?
No. Like, single season records, no. But, like, on your overall career stat
Oh, no,
line,
of course.
count them. I mean, how many guys roll into, like, you know, 50 games? So, what, like, 10 starts? How many guys are rolling, like, 10 starts in with, like, a sub-1? The season ends right then. You can be like, oh, the guy is sub-1. No. You're going to assume that since no one's ever had a sub-1, that the dude would have gave up runs, and you would assume that since pretty much no one has had a sub-2, like one guy a year finishes the year with like a 1-something, unless it's that guy, unless like, you know, if DeGrom's got like a 0 ERA, or if someone's got a 0 ERA
For you,
after 10 starts.
If you had a 0 ERA, that'd be pretty fun.
Oh, if I get a 0, I'm counting it.
Yeah.
I'm telling people there's no asterisk that I would have kept it up for the whole season. But other people,
untouchable.
I can't say the same thing because I'm not them, so I don't know.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you, Miles, for doing this with us. We really appreciate having you on. Thank you for your time.
No problem. No problem.
And enjoy whatever's left of quarantine and whatever you got coming up with the season. Just enjoy it, man.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna play like 60 games, we got to start like end of July, I guess. So I got like another couple weeks at home before I got to get somewhere. So I'm enjoying. Yeah. Enjoy the sun. It's hot down here. Enjoy the pool.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, we'll be in touch. Maybe we can talk to you one more time if we have a season after the season ends. Get your thoughts on everything that happened. If you have any cool stories that you want to share, definitely be awesome to hear from you again.
Yeah, cool. No problem.
Awesome. Thank you, Miles.
Thanks, Miles.
Right. Thank you.